I remember the first time I heard this, managing expectations, I was in my teens and I thought, who wants to have their expectations managed? I want what I want and I want it now. What's up, guys? This is Brian Tinker from Tinker Homes. Thanks for joining us again today. We're going to be covering the topic of managing your expectations for your project. And there are 5 key points, and I'm going to be looking over my computer to make sure I don't miss any of them. So let's get into those 5 expectations, and we'll roll through them fairly quickly, but it'll still take a little bit of time, so let's go. Okay, number 1, your architectural design time. Your architect team, depending on who they are and how busy they are, will sometimes be able to knock out a set of schematic design plans for you in let's say, the first 6 weeks. And then you'll get that set of schematic designs, and then you have to find a time to really sit down, walk through each page. What do I like? What don't I like? And it is so hard to understand spatial recognition, what things look like on a 2-dimensional piece of paper. So you may have to meet with your architect and really try to understand what that's going to look like. And typically, they'll also give you an elevation view of the house, so that looks a little bit more 3D than the set of floor plans that you'll get. But it'll help you understand a little bit what's inside and out. But then they have to go back and take all of your changes and put them back in the plans, which is a great process, but it probably is going to take another month. And then after that, if you have a full schematic set of plans, which is going to probably take somewhere between 2 and 4 months to get that schematic set, then you can give that to 1 to 5 builders so they can give you preliminary design and development pricing. And that price allows you to know, this is way over our budget, or let's find money because this is what we want, or whatever you want to do, because then you can scale back your program at that time. Second is your city review times. This can be anywhere from literally 3 weeks to, let's say, 16 to 20 weeks, depending on your municipality, how big it is, how many permits they have to go through, that type of thing. They will get those plans, go through them, redline them, which means these are the items we need you to address, fix, change, whatever that looks like. It goes back to your architect. Your architect, depending on their schedule, again, may take 2 to 4 weeks to be able to make all those changes and resubmit to the city. Most cities, if there's not something major, will say, okay, it's now another 10 business days or 2 weeks, and we'll give you those plans. Smaller counties, smaller cities, they often will do the whole thing in 3 to 4 weeks, which is fantastic, but not as much so in the big cities. So plan that into your life, that you can't just say, hey, I really want to be in our house by Christmas and it's January, so we just need this to get done. I wish it worked that way. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Even if everybody works as fast as they can, when you add the build time onto that upfront architectural time and your city review time, you may be finishing in March of the following year. So keep that in mind. Number 3, your project timeline. Your contractor should give you a calendar that says generally when things are going to happen and lay it all out for you so you can walk through it and know when the project is slated to end. Now, the things they can't control are acts of God, weather, wind, things like that. They are really going to slow you down, but at the same time, in general, that should be it. Right now, it's obviously COVID, so during COVID, all manufacturing was pretty much halted for 2 to 4 months, and so that put everybody behind, and when they came back on to make the most money they could, they took the highest margin items. So for instance, on appliances, they made appliance packages that were $40,000 and $50,000. They didn't worry about the $10,000 ones. They'll get to those later. But your project timeline should be pretty close outside of acts of God. And then the most specific thing is your changes. If you make a change or if you don't get a decision in on time, then you should just take the days that it takes to make that decision or fix those changes to be added straight to the end of the project timeline. Number 4, setting unrealistic goals. This whole thing is a slower process with a lot of moving parts, from architects then engineers, and then you go into the city and they have to do everything. And while you're doing all of that, you're also potentially trying to get financing for your project. You will find somebody, but it may take some time. And then there's the actual building process. So make sure your goals are realistic about how you're going to make this whole thing work, and it will work. It'll just take the time it takes, but your contractor, I guarantee you, wants to go fast or they make no money. Number 5 on the monetary truths is what I call them. Your monetary truths about your project are that whatever number you get, so let's just pick a number for whatever the type of project it is, $500,000. Now you're going to have a contingency fee of 6 to 8%. That is not for finishes down the road. That is for items that were unforeseen. Let's say we build in the mountains a lot, so blasting and excavation may go up quite a bit because the rock might be much harder. And when there's dirt and rock, I can't tell how hard that rock is until we start blowing it up. Does it come out in small little chunks or does it come out in Volkswagen-sized chunks? So either way, you don't know what that contingency line item will be for. It's usually at the beginning of the project, and then there might be something at the end, but it's not for finishes. It's not to increase your cabinet budget. It is for unforeseen construction items. But the other part of that is that you will want to make changes as you go. And also, vendors will increase prices during the course of your project. We're often getting bids for lumber 10 months before we actually get any lumber. So when that occurs, you have to get updated bids, which is usually going to increase your budget. I have never, in my 17 years of doing this, have ever seen construction costs come down. They may go up due to oil, to gas, which impacts asphalt shingles, things like that. But even after they've gone up and the price of oil has dropped, they don't drop. So you have to plan in right now that your monetary truth is, this project is going to cost. I do need to manage that with my builder and not let things, I need to make sure I have an ironclad contract that they understand, I understand, everybody understands it, but then they should be communicating to you any line items are going up, and if they're not, make sure you ask, what do you see happening with vendors and prices and those type of things. Now for me, I don't allow my labor type of organizations, in my subs or any of that, to increase their labor costs. They are not allowed to do that to me unless you as the homeowner make a change. So if you don't make changes, they should never be coming back to you and saying, hey, this took more time, we need to get paid more. No, that's not part of the contract. That is not appropriate. So that's it. That's our 5 points for managing expectations through the process of your project. You're going to have a great time. Enjoy it. If you wouldn't mind liking us down below, that'd be great. And even better yet, please subscribe and share this with your friends and family that may be starting on a project of their own, or if they're even thinking or contemplating the idea. Hopefully, all of these ideas about helping you as a homeowner find the right contractor and how to work through your project will help you out. Thanks.